Hello and welcome to Mediumship Matters with me, Hannah McIntyre. How are you doing? I'm doing frustrated. I've been trying to record the Audible version of my book. Um, if you've recorded an Audible book, you will know what I'm talking about. It's really hard. They are very specific about how they want things uh, done for it to be accepted on Audible. I'm also getting triggered just by my voice and this is the thing. I really wish that I had a journey where I had some help because I'm trying to do it myself and I'm just getting yeah, it's just one of those things. So I thought, well, stuff this. I'm going to go back to my podcast where I don't have quality control. Possibly should, and chat to you all. So here we are. I'm really grateful for all the feedback I've had for season 6. It has been mind blowing, the number of you that have got in contact, and really transformational for me. Thank you. I know that it can seem, I don't know. It just means a lot to me that you guys take the time to email and message in. And with that, I thought we would start today with a few of your comments. First up, I had a lovely email from Kizzy in Cape Town. And Kizzy sent me some beautiful pictures, which I cannot show you because this is a podcast of her altars. And she wanted to say, "Hi Hannah, I am relatively new to my spiritual journey and my discovery of spirit, about a year. And I've been hugely inspired and learnt so much from your podcasts and courses. I'm currently doing the 6-week healing course. I already had my altar space, but after listening to your altar podcast, I've been using this smaller round board area on it for changing my altar space as I need it, and thought you might like to see the one I have now, which is all about my self love and healing. Venus and lovers for self love and love from others. My favourite herb, rosemary. A duck my daughter painted in my character as she sees me, quirky and fun. A lemon, because when life gives you lemons. A garden plant that grows tall and proud. Shell collections from my favourite tidal pool to go to connect with spirit from nature. My labradorite pendant and rose quartz and small pot I made as a child with my father. Thank you for being so natural, down to earth, sharing your experiences and bloody funny with it. I'm loving my journey and learning so much." Oh, Kizzy, it's absolutely beautiful. And I just wanted to share with everybody everything that you've got on there and the reasons why, because that is what it's all about. It's all about things that mean something to you rather than somebody saying, you need clear quartz for this, you need a poppy seed for that, you need a pile of soil for that, just doing what works for you. So I'm really, really grateful that you took the time to email in and share with us all. Thank you. Next up was a message from my dear Andrea. And Andrea says, "Hi, Hannah. Welcome back to the podcast airwaves. Thank you so much for this episode." By the way, it does help if I read out the title of the emails, doesn't it? Andrea is messaging about Law of Attraction. It really resonated with me so much. I too have found myself chastising, blaming, and getting down on myself when uncomfortable or unwanted events happened because I thought I wasn't thinking the right thoughts. Of course, all of the painful bits that happen to us when one is in the thick of it feel really awful and it sucks. For me, my mind immediately starts racing with these thoughts of, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with my thinking? Something's wrong. Something's out of alignment because that's why this happened. It's such a relief to hear from Spirit that we're always in alignment and we're always where we're supposed to be. Before hearing this, I found myself putting so much pressure on me being the ideal thinking right person, even though intellectually I know it's simply not attainable when we're in our human. We all have to have the peaks and valleys in our lives. We have to go through the uncomfortable shit so that we can appreciate all of the wonderful abundance that also comes to us. Anyway, I just wanted to write to you and let you know how much this podcast meant to me and how much Spirit's explanation of how it really works meant to me. Thank you, Hannah, for all you continue to bring to us from Spirit. It is so greatly appreciated, and I look forward to more. Blessings to you, Andrea. Thanks, Andrea. I really appreciate these kind of messages because, as you know, sometimes I just feel like I'm talking into the abyss and I'm not even sure that I'm being coherent or that I'm right. It's very easy, isn't it, to say law of attraction doesn't work when you're sulking because it isn't working for you. But I also have to say that the only people I currently see saying law of attraction is where it's at are coaches with sales funnels who want you to pay them a huge amount of money so that law of attraction will work for you, even though we don't. I mean, is there anybody listening out there who paid one of those really spenny, expensive coaching courses with a law of attraction expert who can give me bona fide results that they got from it? Because, maybe we're all wrong. Maybe we're cutting ourselves off. But I think the blaming and the chastising side of it is absolutely a problem. So thank you so much, Andrea, for sharing your experience. On the same subject, I have got an email from Alyssa Edwards, medium in Germany, not to be confused with Alyssa Edwards, the drag queen, but Alyssa Edwards from Germany. Hi, Alyssa. Thanks for getting in touch. Hi, Hannah. I am a medium from Germany and a huge fan of your podcast. Thank you so much for all your hard work, your amazing humour, the knowledge that you share, and for being so honest about your own journey with mediumship, specifically, and life in general. I'm so happy that you are back on season 6, and after listening to your first episode, Bore of Attraction, I felt the urge to finally write to you and share some thoughts of it. About the hype around law of attraction, isn't it fascinating that people pick out only one of the laws of the universe and ignore all the other laws, as if you could separate it and see it in isolation? It is like driving with your car on the road and deciding to only acknowledge the give way sign and ignore all other traffic signs. Good luck with that. There are other laws like the law of beginnings or the law of polarity that should be taken in consideration and might help us understand better why the law of attraction doesn't always work the way we expect it to. 2. Could it be that the cult, as you named it, around the law of attraction has simply become the spiritual sister of the secular myth of the dishwasher becoming the millionaire? And thus it is simply misused to blame and shame people that they are not just working hard enough or reaching their spiritual goals or sending out the correct energy. 3. I think it was extremely rude of that person to tell you that you had blocks and that's why the law of attraction wasn't working in your favour. To me, that tells more about the person who said that than you. And it demonstrates how important it is that we as mediums work with high ethic standards, know our own issues, and don't project them onto other people. In a development circle, another medium once told me in front of a large group that the red oracle card that she had picked reminded her of me. I was wearing a red dress that day, and that it symbolized aggression to her. It took me 3 days of wondering and pondering if I really came off as aggressive until I realised that the only aggression during that development circle came from the other medium towards me. Isn't it interesting how fast we, as self-reflective and sensitive beings, value another person's comment or opinion higher than our own gut feeling? Maybe it has to do with us sometimes being so surprised by other people's offensive statements that we don't pause first and wonder if it's really true, but assume that other people could not possibly say such mean and ignorant things. Perhaps the lesson the universe invites us to look at here is not working on our blocks, but on the blocking off of certain people and work on setting our own boundaries more clearly. Just some thoughts, sending you a huge hug and thanks for everything you do. What a lovely email. Thanks for the hug. Absolutely. I think you're completely right. And I think this is why it's so important to have these dialogues, because on the retreat that I've just been teaching, I thought we were going to be, the theme of sort of the week was going to be healing and connection. That was kind of, if I had two buzzwords, I hate buzzwords, but you know what I mean. Two words that I was going to use to set the tone of that retreat. It was going to be those things. But actually, the entire retreat's theme ended up being awareness and being aware of other people and being aware of our actions for other people and being aware of how our behavior in spiritual places impacts others, even when it's the most well meaning, kindest thing that we're trying to do. And so, absolutely, I think it's important to have these dialogues. And I really agree with you there, Alyssa, that I think when it's so shocking, and I also think it just says something about your character and also my character and people who have taken on board stuff said to them by other people, that we instantly go to, I'm the problem. There's something with me that I need to fix, which is probably, in honesty, the healthiest way. Because although we take it in and we chew it up and we feel upset and a bit squashed, ultimately, our instant thought is, I need to change my behavior. And I think there's a lot of people working in spirituality whose first thought is, I know the law, I know the rules, and this is what I will force on you. And that, again, to say it again, is when we start to get into problems with it being a religion and not just a way of life. The only rule is there are no rules. So, what are you going to do with that? So I think it all serves a purpose. The universe is always working in our favour, and you're absolutely right about the other laws. In fact, interesting fact here, Alyssa, I don't know much about the other laws. I'm going to do some research. I might do a podcast on it. But thank you so much for emailing in and sharing your thoughts. Appreciate you. Next up, I have an email from A, who emailed about the first 3 episodes of season 6. And A says, Hi, Hannah. I just finished listening to the first 3 episodes of season 6 and felt a call to reach out. First, I'm thrilled that you released a new season early. Rules that we can set for ourselves can be a blessing and a hindrance. Listening to our intuition and releasing some of the strongholds can do wonders for our health, both mentally and physically. I don't know the ins and outs of the law of attraction, but I'm curious about the exclusivity of either the law of attraction or the universe working in our favour. I personally don't believe it's either or. Rather, I believe that they work together, with the universe working in tandem with the spirit world, so that we humans may have an opportunity to learn and grow to be our highest self. The law of attraction, manifestation, and alignment is our tools to connect with the universe and the spirit world. I will never forget, after listening to season 1, you gave me, the listener, permission to do what works for us. I released the notion of having to be and do what all the other psychic mediums did to be successful. I could just be me, and that was enough. My spiritual growth and messages exploded after letting that one block go. My confidence grew, and I felt a stronger alignment to the spirit world. I believe the growth that you experienced from trying and then deciding to pivot from your school platform was, in fact, part of your spiritual growth. You did it, succeeded in it, and then determined it was no longer serving your spiritual path. Knowing when to transition and evolve from something that no longer serves you is an admirable quality. By sharing this vulnerability, you have immensely helped others. Thank you for continuing to shine your light. Agreed. And that's, I guess, kind of what I feel that Spirit meant by saying you can never be out of alignment. There is only the reaching for something, the getting in preparation for whatever it is that you need, the moving into that space where you are aligned with it, and then being with it and realizing that you've moved past it already. And so I agree with everything you've said. I think it's fascinating just to sit with and be with. And there's a real safety in this. There is a real safety that I'm feeling at the moment. I can't get it wrong. When I was just out in the garden wondering whether I should plant my new laurel hedge or not, or wait for my husband to come home and do the heavy lifting, there was a real sense of ease. I was like, I could record a podcast. I could plant the laurel hedge. Which do I want to do? Where do I feel like I want to be? And there was no I should, I need to, I have to. It's got to be done. There was just, well, I'll do one now and one later. Which do I feel drawn to in this moment? And I'm here talking to you guys because I decided to record while the house was empty. And I think if we take that small thing, that's a nothingy thing, but we can use that going forward in everything. We're getting so tied up on our spiritual paths all the time, and accept that if something doesn't happen, it's not because you're not aligned to the outcome, it's purely because the universe, the spirit world is working in your favor, and the right people will be there at the right time. I've got a Reiki course coming up in September, and 6 spaces have been taken. There's 12 spaces on the course. And I am no longer the old version of Hannah that would be trying to manifest 6 spaces filled so it's sold out. My request from the universe right now is that the right people come so that we have an amazing, healing, unfolding time. And whether that is 6 more people, 2 more people, or no more people, I am surrendering to that because I know that that is the universe always working in my favor. But of course, it financially would be better for me to have 12 bums on seats. So we're always working in that space. And I think that is to be human. So thank you, A, for emailing in. I really appreciate it and love your clarity on what I was trying to say, but probably using way too many words and fluffing here, there, and everywhere in the unfoldment of it. Oops. I just want to give a little shout out at this point to lovely Julie from Whitstable, who sent me in a beautiful picture of her holding my book and telling me about her journey. Don't worry, Julie, I'm not going to share all your details in a public space, but I just wanted to say I'm so glad that I've been able to help you. I'm really glad that I've been part of it, and sending you loads and loads of love. And I also, while I'm giving shout outs, wanted to give an email out to Karen, who messaged me back in June just to say that she has just found me and she's enjoying the podcast. So I just wanted to say hi, Karen D. Thank you so much for messaging. I love to hear from you guys. It really does mean the world to me. Okay, next question comes from Kim, and Kim wants to ask about the orbs. So while I was on the retreat, I managed to get a really great video of some orbs after we had done our seance, and she wants to know more. Hi, Hannah. So glad the podcast is back. Yay. I have been a bit transfixed with a video you posted recently on Instagram of some orbs. I must admit, in the past, I've been a little skeptical about orbs, but honestly, the way you can see them whizzing around in different directions in that video, it's really compelling evidence. With that in mind, I took a picture of my son on the beach today, and when I was looking back through photos of the day, I was really surprised to see an outline behind him and above him. Is this just the glare from the sun? And I've had a little look, and I think that that is, I'm just looking at it now. I think you've got his aura. I think that's his aura, but that I'm not great with photography stuff, so. And then more generally, I'd love to hear your thoughts about capturing spirits on camera, film, or audio recordings. How often are we capturing echoes of energy left behind? How often is it sentient? How often is it tricks of the light or sound with a very dull, non-spiritual explanation? And how do we tell the difference? Do you have any tips for connecting to spirit this way? Right. Okay. I can't tell you how often it's us and how often it's spirit, because Sometimes it is us. I know that some of the mediums online who do lives where there's lots of orbs, they have literally got someone off screen shaking a tea towel. If you shake a tea towel, it will look like orbs. So the only thing that you can do is do it yourself. And that's my advice. So the person that taught me how to film orbs was Annette, who I met at college. And it really is very simple. You just have your mobile phone, you turn the screen brightness all the way up, you go to record through your camera, and you put the flash on permanently. And then, if you're lucky, you will see some orbs. Now, some of those orbs might be mosquitoes. Some of those orbs might be dust. And this is the problem. Now, on that video that I put on Instagram, I took the sound off because when I am recording orbs, it's the one thing, I mean, I've got used to my voice in podcast land just about, but it is the one thing that is like nails on a chalkboard, because what you want to be doing is talking to spirit. And because I get really excited, I get very loud. It's just horrendous. So when you are filming with your camera with the flash on, what I want you to do is say to spirit, if you're there, can I have a really slow orb come across the screen? If you're there, can I have an orb that comes right up to the screen? Nana, if that's you, can you please do a special orb now so that I can tell it's you? Because then that's when the magic really happens, because dust will not obey your commands, spirit will. So that is how I tell the difference. I accept that sometimes it is dust. I accept that sometimes it's the odd fly or moth or something. But I also accept that there's an intelligence we're working with. Fascinatingly, I used to use orbs a lot as like a comfort blanket. So if I was going to do a reading or a dem, I would say to spirit, if you're here, show me you're here, and turn my flash on and wait for them to prove themselves to me. And do you know what they started doing, Kim? They started refusing to do that. For reasons only known to spirit, I think because I needed to work in faith and trust and stop expecting them to jump through hoops, because mediumship is an ultimate vulnerability and they're not just going to do whatever you want whenever you want it just because you've asked them to. So it was a really big thing for me. Um, I remember going to go on stage and I could not film an orb and I just felt completely alone. But of course, as soon as I went out on stage, it all happened as it does. So, spirit will show up for you when it is right for you. But if they don't show up for you and you're filming and they're not there, that doesn't mean spirit aren't with you. It just means that they are working with you in a different way for your unfoldment. Now, I have a bit of a thing. I've got a spirit box. I have tried to use it and it just doesn't work for me. Um, my friend who I used to do my sort of physical mediumship exploration with, her and we went around a graveyard once. I've probably told you guys this, with a K2 meter and got nothing. I mean, not even a teeny blip, which makes sense now because if you were dead, you wouldn't be hanging around your decaying body. You would be with your loved ones in their home, watching TV with them and laughing with them. So I understand why we didn't get any activity, but literally nothing. We got back to our house and then I said, Abby's granddad, can you show us that you're there? And the thing lit up like a bloody Christmas tree. So I think that these tools are useful, but I think the spirit limit or won't use them. I am more and more convinced, Kim, the more I explore with spirit, the more that I ask questions about why it works the way that it does, that it's part of the simulation here, it's part of the experience here, that we are supposed to be a little bit disconnected from them. I do believe that there are other experiences that our souls have where we are more with ourselves, we are more with spirit, we are more connected. We can speak to them, we're aware of them. It's more like mediumship is portrayed on the TV, for example, where they're speaking. Here on Earth, I think it's intentional. that there's a disconnect. And I think that's why I have a bit of a problem with some of this physical medium stuff, because it just doesn't make sense to me that they would create plastic gems out of your eyes, but they wouldn't write their name properly on a piece of paper. That they wouldn't, give you a touch of their hand and it looked like their hand. All of these things that we've been talking about for ages. And I think that's also true in some of the ways that we try to capture spirit on technology. Because I have never heard anybody record a spirit on technology where it's somebody's grandma bringing through evidence. You can get people and this is the weird thing, and we'll talk about this in a minute. You can get voice boxes that say murder or I hate you. You will die soon. I'm coming to kill you. But nothing that says, hi, Hannah, it's your Nan Patricia. You used to call me Molly Moo. I love you. You're doing great, girl. Nothing like that. That didn't sound at all like my Nan either, but you get the gist. So I think that, I don't know. I don't know. I've never heard a compelling voice recording except when it's spooky. I watched this, oh my God, Jonathan Ross's wife, Jane, amazing hair. Anyway, she did something where she was investigating. Jane something investigates. I'm so sorry, Jane, I've forgotten your surname. And she did a thing where she went to an old theatre. I always remember it really well because it gave me the heebie-jeebies. And they recorded it, and it said Jane will die soon or something like that. And she hasn't. She's still here. So I think sometimes when they're done with like a spooky intention, they pull negative and horrible energy to us. And this is the thing about sentiency, if that is a word. Energy speaks. It speaks without the intelligence and the love of spirit, but it still speaks. I had a lady when I believed in souls getting trapped and attachments and all that shite that I used to absolutely believe in. I had a lady come to me, and her husband, as far as I could perceive, was in her energy. He'd committed suicide. I was talking to him. It was really clear. I could give her loads of evidence. I think I even got his name, what he was wearing, his personality, the fact that he was really controlling. At that moment, I really misled her due to the limitations of where I was at, because I thought it was him. I thought he was trapped in her energy body, and she had loads of health issues, and we thought that her health issues were caused by him being in her energy body. Now, I don't believe his spirit was in her energy body, but do I believe that when he passed, she kind of pulled the whatever he left behind or whatever she believed was in that relationship to herself? I do. And that is a different thing. And I think sometimes with these voice recorders and stuff like that, because they're doing it with the intention of being spooky, that's exactly what they're pulling towards them, is spooky energy. So, in short, I think in this incarnation, we have to be a part of it. Whether that is asking an orb to move so that in a certain way, or bring a certain colour, or come up to the screen, or stay in the distance, or ask for 3 orbs, or ask for a fast one, ask for a slow one. We're giving them a chance to make it evidential for us. As yet, I've not ever heard a voice recording that is completely without any doubt. For me, if you can get through old Pegleg Jack, the murdering pirate. Sorry about the pirate accent. I'm aware that was awful. If you can get him through to say, I want to kill everybody, why can't you get through somebody's grandma? Riddle me that. Even when you're doing things like Ouija boards and pendulums, there is an intrinsic part of us that is part of it. It's not separate. And this is still my argument about trance. It's not spirit taking over completely. It's spirit working through your physicality. And that's a different thing. And we have to accept that. So sometimes it's tricks of the light, sometimes it's sound, sometimes, I mean, there's so many different things. We are picking up sounds that are beneath our conscious hearing. We are seeing colours that our brains cannot compute. There is just so much going on that we are unaware of in our flesh ape suits. But when it comes to recording it on tech, I think sometimes it is the reflection of a sun. I've had quite a few people, if it's a sunny day and you're filming like across the sea, and you often get like a little green, looks like an orb, which is actually a reflection of the sun that moves as you move the camera. I've had to pop quite a few bubbles of people when they've sent it to me and just say it's the sun reflection, it's moving with you. So sometimes it is. Some of those orbs in that video that I recorded will be dust. Some of those orbs will be ways for spirit to show us that they're there. Now the question remains of why would they present as an orb and not as a face? I don't know. I don't know. So it's interesting to sit with, think about, and I'm really grateful that you asked, Kim. No help at all, though, from me, really, was there? And last of all for today, I'm going to share an email from Paula. And Paula says, Hannah, I so resonate with blowing up that which you have created podcast. I have been a student of yours since you opened the first school. As you started talking about how all this came about, I realised I have learned lessons from spirit like this for years, unfortunately. Years ago, I had a small art gallery where I taught art classes in a studio in the back. So afraid of doing it all on my own, sought out a partner to share this with. A very talented fellow artist friend of mine stepped right up and said, "Let me help you." My experience took a dark turn as the partnership soured quickly and she walked away. Now, later, I would reinvent my business plans to try and include different partners. I wanted to help others, but wanted some help in return. I was not listening to what Spirit had to say. Each partnership ended, and I slowly, because I guess I like to learn the hard way, began to see that no matter the partnership, I always did all of the work because I was the one with all the experience. Many years later, 2020 hindsight, I see that I did not need a partner, that I was enough. I had what I needed all along. Those were what we call here in the States growing pains. I've learned so much about myself from looking back at that time. I see how I continued to repeat the same BS until it clicked and a light bulb went off. My last partnership happened just before COVID. 4 other potters and myself decided to open a pottery studio to teach classes and provide studio space. My idea. We all got along great. My partners were crazy talented people with their own gifts. Funny thing, I was the one again with business experience. I ended up doing all the stuff in the background, registering students for classes, taking payments, handling the calendar for everyone, etc. I found myself being swallowed up by the little things. I was not enjoying being a part of this new venture. Even though it was successful, I was doing no pottery, nothing remotely creative. Along came COVID and closed us down. I gratefully bowed out. I let go of all the weight of that partnership. In that moment, I told myself never again, and I meant it. I am on my own now after 20 years of learning the hard way. I've been able to dive into my work as well as open myself up to new adventures like your mediumship school. Good for you, girlie. I am on this journey with you now and ready to run. I love your podcast. Thank you for sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly. Thank you for being real. See you at the gateway. Much love from the other side of the pond. Paula from South Carolina. Ah, yeah. Do you know, Paula, I'm still not even, I couldn't say to you guys confidently that I have learnt this lesson. I, if you said to me, bet your life that you're never going to make this mistake again, I wouldn't be able to do it because I know that I never feel like I'm doing it in the moment. I feel like it's a really good idea and we can all work together and it's going to be magical and wonderful. And then, and then I do it and then I remember. Funny old things, us humans, aren't we? But I really appreciate you emailing, Paula, because number one, it's nice to know I'm not the only person making these, sorry, no offense, ridiculous decisions and giving all of my power away. It's nice to know that there's other people doing it too. Maybe we need to make some sort of support club, but it is what it is. To err is human, and we are here for that experience. So I have to forgive myself, try and remember, try and hold on to the lessons, try not to forget what got me here in the first place. But it is, when you look back, you're right about the hindsight, and you just see yourself doing most of the work and other people profiting from it and not even realizing that you're doing most of the work, not even being grateful for that, just taking, quite rightly, because you're the one that set yourself up in this way. It's a bitter pill to swallow. We need some of those lemons from Kizzy's altar, but it is also understandable, and the way that it is, and the way that we are, and I guess we have to forgive ourselves for that. Thank you all for getting in touch. What a lovely podcast, just of everything that's going on with you guys. Really great. And I really appreciate all of you that have taken the time to message. I will catch up with you all again very, very soon. Take care.